Good morning, students. Today is a new topic, that is the female reproductive system of the human being. As you know, that the primary sex organ of this human being is the pair of ovary. And secondary are the fimbriae, fallopian tube, uterus, vagina, etc. So firstly, we have a detailed structure of this one, that this ovary is connected with this type of finger-like structure. This is the uterine wall. This is the uterine wall. It has been observed that this ovary is supported with two types of the ligaments. One, this one, that is called mesothelium, and this one is the broad ligament. These two parts are responsible to maintain the proper place of this particular ovary. Inside it, there is a small hole present, ostium, that is called ostium. This one is called ostium. Ostium. Inside it, it is called fallopian tube. Fallopian tube having certain parts, that is called infundibulum. This particular part is infundibulum. This is called isthmus, and this both total is called fallopian tube. It has been observed that a thick uterine wall is made by the combination of three types of the layer, that is called endometrium, myometrium, and epimetrium. Epimetrium, myometrium, and endometrium. This epimetrium may be right perimetrium. It will open here, and this part is called vagina. It is the tubular structure which receives the male genitalia, and the outer part, that is called vulva. It is the outer hole-like structure which receives the male parts. Now, if you cut a section of this particular ovary, then what things we will observe, just we will have to discuss. Suppose this is the TS of the ovary. It is the ligament through which it is connected with the uterine wall. It is made up of germinal epithelium, and it is called tunica albuginea. tunica albuginea. We can divide this whole of the part into two parts. One that is called cortex and another that is called medulla. It has been observed when a female come into the proper age, when the FSH is secreted from the anterior lobe of pituitary. Before this age, it has been observed that the number of follicles are accumulated inside it and their nature is like this. After getting the secretion, and this age is called age of puberty. Age of puberty, whenever the anterior lobe of pituitary release FSH. One of the oldest this Graafian follicle will start to mature. Will start to mature. And gradually it releases estrogen also. The function of the estrogen is mainly to maintain or the convert the or the development of the secondary sex characters of the female. Secondary sex characters of the female, that is the maturation of the uterus, that is the formation of the breast, that is the accumulation of the fat in the thigh and the other parts of the body, so on. This is the mainly secondary sex characters. Secondary sex organs are the vagina, that is the uterus, that is the fallopian tube, that is the femur. These are the secondary sex organ, and the primary sex organ is the ovary, because just we have discussed in the first class, in the first previous classes, when we have started this particular chapter, that there is certain difference between the primary sex organ and the secondary sex organ. Primary sex organs are those organs which is responsible to produce gametes as well as hormones. The same thing we have observed, that they are responsible for the formation of the gametes as well as hormone, that is the first hormone, one which will be secreted from the FSH, pituitary, that is FSH, and pituitary will secrete FSH whenever the GnRH is released from the hypothalamus. So we can say that after getting the puberty, the GnRH will permit that particular anterior lobe of pituitary to release FSH, and FSH, due to the FSH, the secondary sex characters will develop and this maturation will be started, and this particular maturation causes estrogen. Now what happens? Suppose this one is the endometrial lining. This estrogen also act upon it and to make it more vascular. It is one of the secondary sex characters, but in each and every maturation, what happens after maturation, we will discuss it. Each and every this maturation, what happens? There is a thickening of the endometrial lining. Okay? Now, again, it will come here, and in this case, what happens? There is a granulosa layer is formed, and in the secondary oocyte, what happens? This granulosa layer will form like this. We will discuss what will be the structure of this particular structure, and a layer is also formed here. Okay. At the meantime, whenever this will be in this condition, pituitary also release, and in addition to FSH, that is called LH. This LH is called luteinizing hormone, and it acts upon this particular growing secondary oocyte or the Graafian follicles. What happens? It comes here, and the release this one. This is called ova, and this process where the certain remaining parts is also present here, and it is called ovulation. It means the first function of the LH is the ovulation. Now this LH act upon this one and convert this part into corpus luteum. This corpus luteum is yellowish in nature due to yellow pigment, and it releases an hormone that is called progesterone. It releases a hormone that is called progesterone, and this progesterone is released for the maintenance of this one. This thickening of the endometrial lining is due to the estrogen, and the maintenance of this thickening is due to the progesterone. Now, why this thickening will be maintained? Because whenever this ova is released out from the ovary, then it will be trapped by the fallopian tube, and in fallopian tube at certain place they wait for the sperm to come in contact for the fertilization. If fertilization will take place, then it has a significant role, because it is the site of the transplantation of that particular zygote or the growing embryo. And for this purposes, this maintenance is very much essential, that progesterone ultimately is responsible for the giving additional mucus to make it more viscous or the lubricants for the maintaining of this particular layer. Whenever the ova is not being fertilized, at that time, what happens? This progesterone release will be checked, and this corpus luteum is converted into small spot that is called corpus albicans. It is only a sport. They are not in condition to release any hormone. It means the endocrine nature of this particular corpus luteum will be stopped, and it will be white spot like structure. Parallelly, what happens whenever the support of this maintaining is not there, then what happens? It becomes destroyed, it becomes ruptured and move out in form of the menstrual flow. Okay, it means whenever the FSH will be released, it will take 14 days to come out. Now, this particular menstrual cycle will have a one lunar month, and that is called 28 days. It means from this to this 14 days. So, we will discuss it in detail, that how menstrual cycle will be taking place. Structure of the ova which will be released out from the ovary. It has a prominent nucleus. It is a secondary oocyte, haploid in nature, and it is covered by a very much granulated membrane. and this is called membrana granulosa. Membrana granulosa. This outer membrane is called theca externa and inner membrane is called theca interna. And below this particular membrane there is a cavity that is called antrum, which is filled by the liquid. But it is not completely floating inside that liquid because it is attached with this particular membrana granulosa by a germ hill that is also called cumulus euphorus. Outside it, it has been observed there is a zona pellucida. Zona pellucida is also present inside it. This zona pellucida have a vital role in the at the time of the plantation or at the time of fertilization. We will discuss it, that how this zona granulosa or the zona pellucida have a role in the fertilization. That is all about the external structure or the internal structure of the female reproductive system. We will discuss later on that how fertilization takes place and how the embryonic development takes place in the next